Hello, and welcome to another episode of The End of the Search. This one I call it The Cause of All Suffering. And it's based on a question somebody asked in one of the videos, and it says, do you think this manifestation of the world or the awareness dreaming the body is the cause for suffering? Well, suffering actually is psychological, and it has to do with an interpretation. It has nothing to do with what seems to be happening in the world of appearances or how this manifestation may have been taking place. It's irrelevant. When you believe you're a separate entity, a separate individual, then everything is judged or filtered through the mind, through your conditioning. So the meaning that you give to anything is what causes whatever you're experiencing psychologically. If you experience suffering, it's not because of what seems to be happening, it's because the way you're seeing it, how you're interpreting it. That is the cause of all suffering. What we're doing here is remembering who we are, because when you remember who you are, when there's that recognition, then the suffering immediately disappears. Yeah, there's going to be pain and there's going to be pleasure as part of the dualistic human experience, but none of that causes any suffering. They're just simply transitory experience that crosses consciousness or awareness or whatever you want to call it, but in the end has no effect on what you are. These videos are pointing to the fact that you are. Not of who you are or what you are, but the fact that you are. And you cannot negate the fact that you are. That is direct experiencing. This is something that cannot be negated. The problem is the mind colors it, you see? Beginning with, I am this individual, which is a thought. And if that has not been investigated, then we begin to, we start from that false premise, and that's where all the confusion comes in. But when there's a recognition, which is not a personal recognition, by the way, but I don't know what words to use, but when there's a recognition that I am, when the investigation has been done and it's clear that I simply am, not a body, not a person, but I'm simply am, then life unfolds as it will unfold, but has no effect on what I am. See? And that's why these videos are pointing to the obvious, and the obvious is that you are. You cannot say you are not. Everything you add on to that is just basically fabrications from thought, from mind. Without all those fabrications, all what remains is what is. And we can put this to the test, so you see that this is not esoteric, this is very practical. Right now, if you don't believe any thoughts, it doesn't matter what they're suggesting, or it's irrelevant. If you don't believe any thoughts, where there's no mind interpreting anything, what remains? What remains is not an answer. What remains is an experience, which is the experience of being. You're being always. You can never not be. See? Resting in beingness, there is no suffering. All that there is what is. You can say peace, but I don't even want to use that word, because that is a concept that the mind already associates with a particular feeling or state or whatever. And if you're not feeling that way, you may feel, I am not at peace. Well, once again, depends what you think peace is. If you think peace is a sensation that feels in a particular way, this is not the peace we're pointing to. The peace that surpasses all understanding is the background, is the isness in which all seems to appear and disappear. And you are that. Right now, if you don't identify, if you don't believe any thoughts, you are resting in what is. But don't try to trap this conceptually thinking, oh, this is what it is. No, this is not what it is. It is, prior to the thought, this is what it is. And this is always. It's just that identification with the thought, me, individual, that sort of gets in the way. And we're dismantling all that. We're not trying to get an answer. We're not trying to find anything. We're just dismantling the blocks that we have placed on the truth that we are. You see? When that becomes crystal clear, because it's the isness, that beingness, that background, that whatever you don't call it anything, that does not experience anything, suffering nor pain nor pleasure, nothing. Is a space, the empty space in which everything seems to manifest, and you are that. And the practicality of this is that you're not going to disappear all of a sudden thinking I am the empty space and I am in limbo. No, that's not what's going to happen. You're going to still functioning like every single human being does, but with a different mentality. That's what I mean. It's like you still perceive the same things everyone perceives, but you're not caught in the interpretation that the mind is making of everything, because the recognition that I am is firmly established. And consequently, although you still act as if you're one of them, so to speak, you're doing it with a mentality that is not of this world. That's what it says, being in the world, but not of it. See? This is not something you try to explain to anybody. This is just the way you carry yourself through this seeming experience until the disappearance of all this stuff takes place according to, I don't know, according to whatever script, according to the play. But let's not go there. That's just going to create confusion, and it doesn't serve us. What serves us right now is that I am. That is what serves you. From the moment you wake up in the morning, or the body wakes up in the morning, or the image you seems to be awakened by life, it doesn't matter. Let's not get so caught up into that. When you wake up in the morning, you are. Beingness is. And throughout the day, beingness continues, in spite of the thoughts and the experiences that takes place. But the world of appearances is not the cause of our suffering, because the world of appearances is just basically images and sensations or feelings that are completely neutral, that has no effect psychologically on us, unless we believe that we are a separate entity and those things somehow have any importance or can have an effect on us psychologically again. As long as you experience yourself as a body, yes, I'm pretty sure that if somebody throws you a stone, it's gonna hurt. Okay? But we're not talking about that. See, on a biological level, within the world of appearances, yeah, there's things that will be done to protect this body. Yes, that's fine. But psychologically, these are just appearances and sequences within the dream, but they have no effect on you because you know who you are. And this video is about pointing who are you, to see who you are. The investigation is very simple. You think you're a body, but how do you know you're a body? This is the experience that seems to be happening. A feeling, a sensation appears. That doesn't say you're a body. That's just a feeling and a sensation that appears. The mind, thought, interprets it, and that interpretation is the one that comes up with I am a body, or this is what I am. But that feeling and sensation, if it was who you are, when the feeling and sensation goes, you should go too, and yet you remain. Well, that isness is what remains, and this is what these videos are pointing to. Now you recognize that you are, while a feeling or a sensation may seem to appear in the you, that this is where this is pointing to. You know you're a body because a thought tells you you're a body. Otherwise, there's just feelings, sensations, perception, but there's just an appearance that has no identity, has no particular source. It's just a happening. Seeing is happening, hearing is happening, feeling is happening. Without the mind trying to give meaning to any of this and trying to attach it to a something, then there's no one this is happening to. It's simply what seems to be happening. And this is where these videos are pointing to. That where the videos are pointing to, there is no suffering. All that there is what is. You see? So again, let's put it to the test, but don't try to conceptualize this. I'm just simply pointing to what is. Right now, if you don't believe any thought, just for a moment, don't believe any of them. Let them be there. They will be there. That's what they appear. The sky doesn't complain because clouds appear or don't. The sky is just being, is skying, so to speak. So right now you're being. If you don't believe any thoughts, what remains? Don't answer. If you answer, you went back to the mind. I'm just pointing to the realization, oh, of course, what remains is what is. And in that isness, when there's no identification with thoughts, is there any suffering? Even if you may be experiencing pain, even if you may be dealing with certain challenges in the world of appearances, without the mind's interpretation, without the judgment of it, is there any suffering? You see? So the world of appearances is not the cause of suffering, it's the mind's interpretation of what seems to be perceiving and how it is perceiving the cause of suffering. So when you go to the root and you see that you are, the suffering immediately disappears. Because you're resting in what you are, which is beingness, pure beingness. This is all there is. There's nothing else to do. There's nothing to say. It's just simply, it's just what is. And you are that. Well, this is the inspiration that came through. I hope it served. And as always, may peace permeate the mind so that love can be extended.